What's element 115?
Element 115 is a super heavy element. It's something that we only just recently synthesized. We only made 4 atoms of it, but the craft uses larger quantities of it, 223 gram little triangles of it. But it's a unique element. When it's exposed to radiation, it produces its own gravitational field, its own anti-gravitational field, and it's what's used to lift and propel the craft and create distortions around it. It's an amazing material, and it's certainly nothing that occurs here or naturally.
And it can be weaponized, and that's kind of the issue here. If this story is all true, that can be weaponized.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow decoder around the world, male and female, of course, my name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality, and this is going to be another decoding quickie. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this decode to come out, and this is going to be the short version. I will have the full version on my Patreon page. I will mention that in just a minute, but let's get through these quickly, show you the details of how important this decode is. Noticing how Larry King was interviewing Bob Lazar and company, talking about the importance of Moscovium 115. If you haven't seen this documentary, you should probably watch it. Why it's called Area 51, there is very specific reasons for that. Nonetheless, this element 115 and Moscovium is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because not only is it used for UFOs and the movement of UFOs, but it's also tied to our blood types. So like all of my decodes are really starting to come around full circle now, and they're starting to really make sense for me. I'm able to go back and look at these. If you have watched my Bloodline Decoded, thanks for supporting that. I showed how important this is, perhaps where our origins come from. The fallen angel story is in there, how we may have come into this reality, but it's tied to this number 286, the 8 known blood types. You will be one of those, including some of the RH factors, etc. But the 8 known blood types equal the number 286. That is going to be tied to the element nihonium, which is tied to the 30th prime number, which is tied to man in a box, following the white rabbit, etc., etc. But it is one of the weights of Moscovium. The average is 289, 286. So why I'm showing that, ladies and gentlemen, is our blood types, the origins of our blood types. Are they found? Were we made in an underground laboratory? I know that is very science fiction-y. I know that may go against a lot of your beliefs, but we cannot rule it out. Jason Bashirs and I talked about this amazing topic not too long ago. Thanks everybody for your support on this. Underground aliens. We went through a lot of information in this. We could have probably going to do a round 2, but check this out if you are interested. But let's get into a little bit of the documentary of Bob Lazar, Area 51. And I took some snapshots because I couldn't obviously bring the video feed in here. What I noticed right away is when he started to draw what he was able to work on that he called a UFO. And what I have circled here is exactly the shape of the flux capacitor. You see it right there, ladies and gentlemen. It is a dead giveaway. This is the flux capacitor, and now we have connecting points to Back to the Future, what makes time travel possible. And now I know what this means on here. Obviously, 88's tied to radium and Ra, which is where you have Rachel, Nevada, which is where Area 51 is near. But we also have the reset and plutonium, which is the fuel that the DeLorean needed. Plutonium we're going to get into in just a second. But how about that flux capacitor, which is going to give you the number 22, but there it is right on the drawings that Bob Lazar drew out, and these were called the gravity amplifiers that were used for the UFO. I mean, it's just so right there, ladies and gentlemen. You can't miss it now. The flux capacitor. Back to the Future, 1985. And if you go watch the Lazar 51, it talks about when he was at Area 51. Whether or not he was there, doesn't matter. I know this is true. Right now, this is my truth, etc., etc. So, where is Area 51 located at? It's off Highway 93 Highway 95, and Nevada State Interstate 375. 375, 75 is Lucifer in the original Hebrew spelling. It's 375. But notice the sine and cosine wave. I did a whole tutorial on how to decode using sine and cosine waves, how important the sine and cosine waves are for each and every number. It's basically the fingerprint of each of these numbers. You'll notice the first two numbers after that decimal point is 9 and 4. And this can obviously be 49, but right away I knew what that was, ladies and gentlemen. Bam! It's plutonium. Plutonium is tied to the underworld. I did a decode on Prometheus, Decoded. Let's talk about Pluto. Thanks everybody for supporting that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to the bottom of how our reality works, and it's seemingly not what we thought it was. But there you go. Are the underground aliens, is it just tied to Prometheus, which is Hades, Greek mythology, plutonium. I told you we'd be getting to plutonium. You go right back to that flux capacitor. There's the plutonium symbol right there, which is a biohazard symbol. Okay, so this is all coming round robin, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go into the nitty gritty of this. You really want to have your mind, your jaw on the floor, your mind blown right now. Here you go. Here's the full sine and cosine wave for the number 375, where Area 51 is located at. It's the 126. And I was like, wow, I was blown away, because here is the average atomic mass for iodine, 126.904. There's the 94 on the back end, but it's the I, one half of the I am. Even Yeshua equals 53. I'll be bringing that out in the full decode, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, I will, because the Jesus character is involved in the fallen angel story. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I bring in the Old Testament. I bring in the Torah now, the most popular spell book on the world stage. How is that tied to Area 51? Well, here we go. Because you see, it's Genesis 1 verses 26, which talks clearly about, and God said, let us, plural, make man in our image after our likeness. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Elohim right there, 41. Now, I know it's not going to be tied to the 51, but ladies and gentlemen, the 41 is tied to the 126, which is the sine and cosine wave of the fingerprint for 375, where we just made underground, ladies and gentlemen. Well, notice how Elohim is a 41, just like what they call Area 51. It's called Paradise Ranch, and it just so happens that what makes UFO travel possible, the gravitation, is a 40 freaking 1, which just so happens to be a match to the Speak and Spell off the movie E.T. How about that, folks? You see, this one blew me away. Obviously right there, and then even the humdingers here, the small ones, this coffee can, 13 ounces, 41 being the 13th prime number. You even have the 100, the fallen angel, 100%. You can see it all. And is man really looking at this and then placing these things in the props like this? I don't know, folks. I believe mankind's being used. But it's pretty much a no-brainer here, and where we just made in an underground laboratory. We cannot rule that out, ladies and gentlemen. So when we do the numerology of Genesis 1 verses 26, we get the number 40 through the original spelling of word. This is Genesis now, Genesis 13. Remember, 41 is the 13th prime number, and the Elohim is 41, Paradise Ranch, Moscovium. All Area 51 connections. Okay, but it leads to the number 40. And you're on television. This is all just coming around full circle. You've been following this research. You're on television, Decoded. There it is. And then how about that great show and movie in 1973, the year I was born, Westworld. And if you watch this series, it's talking about mankind being used. And you're on television, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the show shows that, that we've become aware of that. At some point start to rebel, etc., etc. And I did a special report on cloning, folks, because this is perhaps where it's going. I mean, where we just cloned. Was Jesus, the character Jesus, was it just cloned? I mean, look at all these 23 outcomes. Clone, history, crown, blood. People are told to drink the blood of the Christ. Jesus wore the crown. The luckiest number in numerology is 23. I mean, these are all staring us in the face now. Maybe, like, what are we to look at here? But Check out my Let's Talk About Cloning. I did a special report on that on one of my lives. And the last slide I have to show on this, ladies and gentlemen, is Area 51 and its coordinates. And, you know, I'm going to come out with the full, just so you know, I'm going to come out with the full decode on my Patreon channel. Okay, I just released my new Patreon channel. If you want to become a subscriber, support this great research that I've been doing for over 5 years now, putting out countless, I have like 450 videos. I'm going to start a subscription base. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, to support this research. The full decode will be out on my Patreon page, so look out for that. Become a member. I appreciate all you subscribers out there already, and I look forward to getting some more. But here you go, ladies and gentlemen, the humdinger of all humdingers. Area 51, when you do the coordinates of it, and this is how important the latitude, longitude is for where you're at in your world, where you were born in this world. It's when you look at them through the lens of, you can add them up. This is going to give you 152. I'll be showing that on the full breakdown and the full decode. But then you can bring in the periodic table and the elements, and there's where the Moscovium is. You see, Bob Lazar, this is what makes UFOs move. And Moscovium is 115, and the west longitude of Area 51 is 115. I almost said latitude. The 115 west longitude for Area 51 is 115. You think this is a coincidence? Abso-freaking-lutely not. But ladies and gentlemen, here is the big humdinger of them all. Rubidium 26, Moscovium 41, and just like that, we have the two biggest things in the Old Testament. It's the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, which is supposedly the God of the Israelites, the God of all gods, and then you have the Elohim, which are the gods that made the humans. 26 and 41. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to watch the full decode, I'll be coming out with this on my Patreon channel. I'll leave the link for it if you want to just click on it and go support this channel. I really appreciate all of your support, ladies and gentlemen. But there you have it. This was like the humdinger of them all. Area 51. I have a lot more slides to show you with this decode coming out soon, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan. Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.